It's the two. It's a Thursday night triple threat. I'm here, Mr. Yu, and Big Mike is in the house. Our other brother Mike is on location right now, so he can't be here with us. But man, we're here to talk wrestling, brother. What's going on, man? This is our first show. I'm excited, man. How about you?
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah, I'm excited as everything, man. That intro got me going. Sound like the Ultimate Warrior come back in the 80s. I want to shake the ropes. I'm hyped up, ready to go.
Oh yeah. We got people coming in the house already joining our show. I'm excited about that. We got lots of stuff on tap, man. So you gotta get your questions ready. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a hint. We're gonna be talking about, so you can get your questions ready, your comments. We're talking the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestlers. So that means 4 wrestlers you think are at the top of the wrestling food chain. That's a tough topic. I know that because we talk about eras and different people say in the 2000s, some stay in the early 1970s. So it can be kind of dicey, but your 4 top wrestlers for your Mount Rushmore. And then, of course, your professional wrestling GOAT. That means the greatest of all time. I want to hear that from you guys also. Of course, your favorite wrestlers. If you got 3 of them, I'll share ours. Mike will share his, and we'll go from there. And how long you guys been watching wrestling? What got you into it? Let us hear the personal stories. That makes what we're doing so much more special. We're going to definitely have some predictions on the King of the Ring and the Queen of the Ring in WWE. And, of course, AEW Double or Nothing, which they're both going to be this weekend, I believe it is. Have predictions for those matches as well. We run them down for you. So let's see who we got in the house joining us tonight. I'm working at night. It's weird. I'm usually working in the morning time. All right. Lady Alpha in the house. What's up, lady?
What's going on, Lady Alpha?
Today. All right. Got Herb and Raj in the house. I'm answer that question for you. Me and Mike will tackle that one a little bit shortly here. Matter of fact, let's try it right now. All right. So Herb and Raj in the house. These brothers have a fantastic show every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. EST. 8 p.m. CST, and they got a fantastic show. They are really super knowledgeable on college football, but they talk football and sports overall and basketball as well, so they know what they're talking about. Really fun show. I've been on there several times. I think Mike has as well. And one half of the Herb and Raj podcast, not sure which one, I'm guessing it's Herb, because they share this account.
I see Raj is in there as well, so yeah, that one's definitely Herb. Because Raj is in there.
Awesome. Look at that. If you two were a tag team, what would your name be? Take it. I mean, the thing about that, we'll say to Raj, since he's in here today. What's up, Raj? Good evening, sir. Good to see you in the house, brother. Thank you for coming in, man. All right, so if we were a tag team, what would our name be? Now, we can't leave Mike out, so this is gonna be like a trios.
I can't
leave Mike out of this.
I mean, it'd have to be obviously all 3 of us, as you guys see from the title card, we're all bald. You know, I'm head shaved. Mr. U's got the clean head.
I'm bald by choice.
Yeah, me too. I've been shaving my head since I was a teenager. There is one spot that my wife likes to remind me right around in this area that is not by choice. So usually whenever that gets pointed out, I shave it all again. It's kind of like on top of my head, I guess, from wearing these hats. But I mean, we could be. Oh, she does, but usually she's rubbing my head from the back, just trying to shine it up for me.
Wow, that's bad.
But it definitely have to be something about big bald brothers or something. I mean, all of us together loving our wrestling.
The triple D.
Like, yep, there you go.
Okay, all right. So it's like good cop, bad cop, or we just bad? Period.
Oh, I'm always bad. I don't know.
So this is the heel team then, huh?
Okay. Oh yeah.
Herman Ross said Air Raid Mike's gonna be the manager. All right. I think he would like that job.
Yeah, we can do that.
He said the hairless wonders.
Now we can't do that because I know Mike's got the long beard. We kind of go gradually in beards. Mike has the big long beard. Mine's kind of scruffy. You had one up until recently, if I remember right, Mr. Yu. Now you look more clean shaved.
Yeah. It was time. It was time for it. Definitely time for it. Oh man. Okay, lady. Thank you for helping us out there. Yeah. Please continue to share the show. This is a new debut, so folks might miss. You know how the algorithm goes, man. So just continue to share us, promote the show out there where you are. And we drop us some questions soon. Definitely hear your comments in the comment sections. I like how you decided one mic was enough. Well, I didn't decide that, brother. The other mic was on location and doing some other stuff with work, so he couldn't be here. I think he's going to be in the comment section at some point today, but we'll find out if that happens during.
He's here in spirit, definitely.
He's definitely here in spirit. We already missed him already because we had some fun stuff we were going to do with him, but he couldn't make it, so that's all good, man. Well, let's get into some wrestling talk, man. We are here. We are live. This is our very first show for you guys that are listening in. We're simulcasting on YouTube. It's supposed to be on Facebook, but something's going on with the Facebook feed. Not sure what's happening. So I am going to double check that as much as I could, but I think something's wrong there. But beside that, we are here on YouTube. Of course, you can find us on Twitter as well, simulcast in there. But we're talking professional wrestling now. I want to kind of jump in, get in front of something real quick, because this is something that's been going on Twitter. That at least I've been seeing it on Twitter. It's happening on Facebook and other places as well. The IWC, or the internet wrestling community, is where everybody is basically all wrestling fans. Most of them are die hard. Some of them are fly by nights. Fair weather. You know how it is. So what's going on is that they're out here. I don't know what's causing it, but they're out here basically attacking each other. And they turning simple wrestling conversations, free spirited, loose stuff, into knockdown dragouts out here on social media. I don't understand where that's coming from. If you like Rhea Ripley and you are pretty passionate about that, deal with some criticism, because somebody might not like Rhea Ripley that's in the IWC, and they may make a comment that you can't get mad and block these people and turn things into a knockdown drag out for somebody you don't even know yourself, who you may have met. You might have got an autograph, but beside it, you don't really know the person. So you're out here taking things personal about somebody that you don't even know. And they're like, this is sports entertainment. This can't get all personal and all weird and stuff, but that's what's happening out here. So it's one of the reasons why I talked to you guys about starting this show, man, because come on. It's just about wrestling, man. I got memories going back to the 70s when I was a little kid. I can talk about wrestling in the territories. That stuff was just fun stuff for me, man. I'm enjoying it even up to now. Don't need to be out here assassinating each other because of professional wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Have you been seeing that on your timelines and stuff too? Are you seeing it there too?
Yeah, unfortunately, and I don't know that we see it because we're wrestling fans. Obviously, I'm sure you see it as football fans as well. I think it's just the internet, man. With so many people together, with so many differing opinions, it's really any opinion you have, somebody's going to think you hate it. I'm a WWE guy. I've watched WWE my whole life. Obviously, AEW hasn't been around, but I like AEW. I like a lot of the people that are there. I'm not going to hate on them, but the IWC makes you kind of think you have to pick one or the other, and if you pick one, then you hate the other. It's not like that. Unfortunately, the internet makes it seem that way. But like I said, that's just the internet, man. You can come in and say, man, I really like oranges, and somebody's just like, well, why do you hate bananas? What's wrong with bananas? Why do you hate them so much if you like oranges so much? But it's just kind of the way it goes when you get to that mass of people who want to have every single opinion heard and make it as boisterous as possible. I think that's really what it boils down to. But wrestling tends to be very vocal anyway, more than a lot of other facets, whether it be sports or entertainment. So I think that kind of maybe jumps into it a little bit more so, because it is a lot of what they call tribalism for one side or the other.
Yeah. Well, wrestling fans have I guess in general, we're categorized by some names that I probably won't repeat. But the one I can repeat, they call wrestling fans booger pickers. That's one of the worst ones, I think. But because that person who's down in the basement, the keyboard warrior, and living in his mom's basement, typing stuff that's just hateful about women in wrestling, or just women in general on social media. Those are the guys that help us get the bad rap that we seem to have right now. But there are a lot of wrestling fans that are knowledgeable, like yourself, and so many in the comments section and watching the show on YouTube. They love wrestling. They got a history and stories attached to it, and their grandmother, like I do, my grandmother and I we watched. That was part of our routine. We watched it together. It was part of our bonding to watch Bruno Sammartino and Hulk Hogan, and that's how we, that was part of our that was kind of our thing together while she was alive. So there's a lot of good history in professional wrestling. It's not all negative like what we're hearing now. So I'm grateful for the show, grateful for you, brother, talking wrestling as it should be, in its purest sense. So how long you been watching wrestling?
So I started watching wrestling as a kid. I was born in 1980, grew up in the 80s and 90s as a kid. Started watching it in the early 90s with my dad. My dad watched it a lot. That continued up until after I graduated high school. I lived with my dad in kind of like a roommate situation, and we would always get together. One of us would bring dinner home, and we'd watch Monday Night Raw together. That was kind of our weekly tradition, because we didn't see a whole lot of each other after that. So it's been ever since, and I loved WCW and WWF back then. The Monday Night Wars. I was really hooked into that. I was actually a WCW guy at first.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, the point that I turned from WCW to WWF is kind of the same time a lot of people did. It's pretty well known. You know, WWF used to tape their stuff, and WCW was live, and it was the night that Mick Foley won his first championship. They had said they had talked about it on WCW Nitro, like we threw this guy away. Who gives a crap about Mick Foley? He's winning a championship at Monday Night Raw. Who wants to see that? And I'm like, well, I do. I like Mick Foley. You know, I'm not in the best shape in the world, but I see somebody, you know, like me, representation of a guy that's not really in shape, that's doing this crazy things on TV. I wanted to see him win a title, so I flipped the channel that night. And while I would watch Nitro every now and then with the NWO and stuff, I was a WWE guy then because they had a guy like me winning championships. You know, that was kind of tubby. You know, wouldn't had the six pack and the huge muscles. You know, you didn't know if the guy was going to run out of breath running into the ring or not because he didn't look like he was in the best shape. Right, but if he's going to come out there and be able to win, I want to watch that. So that's kind of when I turned to WWF and then kept going on from then to there, man. But I've been watching it since the 80s and 90s with my dad, and then kind of kept it going. I've got a great niece right now that's, you know, just about 2 years old. So whenever she's here, she gets to watch Monday Night Raw with me some. So trying to continue that tradition.
I love it. Lady Alpha says I'm watching it. I watched it in the 80s. That's all right. I think most of us did. And Herb said it. I think it was Herb. He said he remembered that night with Mick Foley. I turned the channel too. I was super curious. I mean, you know, I don't know if it's Foley or Cactus Jack. I'm not even sure which one was it, or was it Mankind. I don't know.
It was Mankind.
Okay, I turned the channel too. I wanted to see it. I mean, I don't know what made me turn, but I did that. But I wasn't a huge WCW guy until it started moving into the those latter portions of the NWO. That's when I kind of got out. Because that's
when the NWO was like 200 people.
Yes. So anybody can be the NWO, and I'm like, no, that's okay. All right, that's not gonna work for me. What is this nonsense here? Mike is lying about being in shape. I saw him win a 4.240 at the A-Day. All right.
And by 4.240, he means 4 minutes and 20 seconds. So that is actually correct information. He just forgot the zero and the minutes behind it. So that's actual information.
Is there video attached to this? Is what I want to know.
There's no video. I other than here on this channel and on Herbert Raj, there's no video of me out in the wild. I try not to let that happen too much. But definitely no video of me running.
Copy that. Raj said he started watching in the 80s too. The Ultimate Warrior was his guy. Okay. Most folks that watch in the 80s, they seem to like Ultimate Warrior a lot. I can't really blame them. I mean, there's some other names that, you know, pretty popular back then too. I mean, Roddy Piper, Jimmy Snooker and stuff. But yeah, Ultimate Warrior.
His energy, the Ultimate Warrior, just running out like that with all the energy. How could you not love that guy then? You know, because everybody else was like slow moving. You had Andre and Hulk who were just slow, big guy, and you had this guy running out, shaking and everything, just 90-0. Man, he was different.
It made sense though.
Yeah,
you said a lot of the guys were kind of lumbering guys. You know, like John Tenta and some guys. They didn't move. I mean, the Typhoon. They didn't move around very well. So. And most of the matches were kind of like that. They were kind of like, you know, grappling and tussling. It was like slow pace, and the Warrior come out there and just everybody gets anthem, and the kids loved the Ultimate Warrior. They had, I mean, he sold more merch than anybody during that time, probably. Besides probably Hulk Hogan himself. So definitely that. Okay, well, for my story, it's a little bit different. My grandmother was a huge fan. She's from Panama. Well, she was from Panama, and she was watching wrestling before I even came out. So I was hearing the sound of wrestling. I was in the room, I believe. My mom was watching it. She was a big time fan. Both of them were. It was kind of a generational. When I came out, man, I mean, had that in front of my eyes because I was spending time with grandma and mom was watching it. It was like on the television set. And we didn't have the territories on TV at that point, but we had, you know, you can watch WWF at the time. So I was watching that since I was probably 2 or 3 years old, seriously. But I probably knew what I was doing, probably more around the age of 6 or 7. That's when I kind of figured out this was like late 70s. I'm like, okay, now I think I understand what's happening. You know, somebody hit me hit with a chair, but it's like, okay, is he dead? Is he okay? You know, I was starting to catch on that, you know, some stuff wasn't exactly what, you know, it was portrayed to be, but wrestling's been a big part of my life. I mean, I ain't the guy that's with tattoos on, and I don't have any wrestling merch. I don't have anything like that. I just got a lot, over 50 years of history watching this, man. So it's been pretty awesome for me to be a part of that and a part of this too, man. All right, look at her. You said I got 5 nieces, but only one of them is great.
I would hope at least one of them
I don't even know where to go with this, man.
is over there in Texas, the one that's great. Just so there's no, I got to see your brother in the chat there. Hopefully,
so
that's the one you're talking about.
4 nieces, man. What you saying, man? This is not good for you to do this kind of stuff like this. Sergeant Slaughter was Lady Alpha's guy. All right, in the 80s. I get that. Calling everybody maggots. It was funny. It really was. Oh yeah, but this is true. I remember when they brought the Warrior back. It was This give me flashes of Jeff Hardy. No offense, but this will remind me. They already well past that place, and they're still trying to relive it. But they got issues internally, and it's like it doesn't go over well. I mean, I don't think anybody felt like the Warriors' return was like, oh great, I don't think that happened. Nobody.
Yeah,
I don't know anybody that. How about you? Were you excited when the Warrior came back, or were you like,
No, I mean, because again, that's one of those gimmicks that if you don't have that energy, it doesn't work. When you're in your 20s and 30s, when he was in his prime, he could be 90-0. But when you bring him back and he's like in his 50s or something, and he can barely walk from all the bumps he's taken, and you want to see the Ultimate Warrior, and he comes out in face paint and like a suit. That's not the Ultimate Warrior. That's just some dude with his face painted. I get it. I have much respect for Jim Hellwig, who played the guy, but you can't bring that kind of like Hulk Hogan can come out and be Hulk Hogan when he's 90 because the guy just walk out and points and does the whole thing. You can do that at any age. Ric Flair can be Ric Flair up until 80s or 90s, which is what he's done because you got the styling and profiling.
He's sure trying.
But I mean, they're like people. You mentioned Jeff Hardy. That's kind of the same thing, man. I mean, Jeff Hardy can't be Jeff Hardy at 60. He just can't. Unless you evolve that character, there's no way he's going to be able to be doing the same things that made him popular when he in his prime.
At the same time, what's his name? Oh man, I had his name on the tip of my lips from Sabu. That man wasn't young. He was still doing he was doing 360 through flaming tables. So
Sabu may have had some external help in some of that stuff too. I think Sabu may have taken some, we'll call them supplements, that may have helped some of that pain that still allowed him to do that. That dude was kind of crazy in the cell. So I mean, that's a good example of somebody who keeps doing what they're doing way past probably when
he didn't mind cutting himself too.
No,
he didn't mind cutting himself.
And I see Raj, talking about are we fans of ECW in the chat? I mean, I didn't really get to watch ECW before the WWE kind of bought them out because I just didn't know about them because they weren't on weekly television that I got to see. But I mean, I was fans of all the characters that I met once they came in and kind of go back to watch them. We got a lot of really great wrestlers that came from ECW that were born in ECW. And so, I mean, it's hard not to be a fan of one of the most integral parts of modern day wrestling of all time. All the amazing people that came from there.
Yeah, I mean, the Dudleys, man, they had a really big name. I mean, Paul Heyman also. I mean, we know him now as the Wise Man, but he had a lot of clout and helped raise ECW. I mean, they didn't have the numbers that WWE had, and eventually it became kind of a partnership deal, and you're starting to see them cut away from WWE and go to the ECW shows. But I mean, guys like names like Al Snow and
Tommy Dreamer,
Brian Pillman was there too. Yeah. Bubba Ray and Cactus Jack, of course. Chris Jericho was even there too. But I mean, I liked it, but I mean, I don't know. I guess the extreme part, it took some getting used to. I guess some of the matches and and a lot of the gore. It took a little getting used to for me. I was not quite there yet. I'm going to hold Patrol's question for a little bit. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. We're going to hold that.
And I would say that I don't think we get the Attitude Era without ECW coming before it because they got so popular doing what they did, drinking beer, past all the blood sport stuff where they're making each other bleed. But like the sex cells, the alcohol, that kind of part of the Attitude Era, I don't think we get any of that if ECW didn't get as popular as we did. So, I mean, they've definitely got a foothold in the history of professional wrestling as a whole that will, live forever. A lot of the reason why Paul Heyman got put in the WWE Hall of Fame this year is part of because of what ECW, what he created, brought to the world.
That's right. All right. So this is from Lady Alpha. She was saying I about died when you followed me on Twitter. She's talking about the Ultimate Warrior, I believe.
I think she's
still following you on Twitter. That sounds awesome. I have one wrestling follower, and that's John Cena.
See, I haven't got that one yet. I've got Sergeant Slaughter, and I think Jim Duggan may follow me, but I haven't got Cena's yet. I see every day that Cena follows somebody new, but I haven't got that one yet.
Couldn't get Slaughter to follow me back yet, but he'll be all right. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Mount Rushmore. This is, like I said, this is a tough topic. I said it from the outset. Every time I post this on Twitter, I have little poll questions. That thing goes on for like a week and a half, and it seems to never get solved. Because people usually go by the era that they lived in. Like for example, I was a kid of the 70s and 80s, so people assume that people in that era that grew up in the era like me, they're picking the guys from that era. People who are talking now, who are probably about 20 years old or less, they're in the 2000s range. They're picking guys like AJ and all that kind of stuff, so it's a really weird topic, but what I want to do is try to kind of help swerve it a little bit. Let's go with the Mount Rushmore of the persons or the four guys that had the most impact on the sport. Because I think if we go that route, we'll take out a lot of the things that might just muddy the waters a little bit. So we're asking that question out there for our listeners and our viewers. What's your Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling? And Mike, if you're ready, you can go ahead and go first, brother. And then we'll start taking some of the comments coming through. So
I mean, mine is kind of the same. I mean, it's, the first one I would put on there for my Mount Rushmore, I mentioned Ric Flair. He's kind of, the longevity he's had, kind of the whole character. And I realized that he actually got his character from a couple different guys before him. But to take his character from what he did, he's definitely up there. Bret Hart, just the technical part of it and the athleticism, I think he's on my Mount Rushmore personally. I mean, he was a better promo than people give him credit for a lot of times. But I mean, as far as technicality and everything else, I don't think he has any equal. The next one I know, and is much of a surprise as I got on that one, I'm going to get for this one. And like you said, this is for people who have changed the foundation of wrestling. I don't think you can go from the day he debuted to today and not put Triple H in that conversation. From somebody who started wrestling,
you blew my mind, bro.
From the day he started is just a regular guy, made his foot as a wrestler, started getting up to the main eventer, to now running the promotion. There's not many guys in wrestling that can say they can do that runs the biggest promotion in the world, that came from WCW is just an aristocrat character, to the WWE is Hunter Hearst Helmsley, that kind of smug guy, build his character, build his platform. Yes, he married the boss's daughter. That is what it is, but you don't see Shane McMahon who's the actual, but you don't see Shane McMahon running the business. But yet Shane McMahon is the son, and he's not running the business. Stephanie McMahon's not the only kid. If it was just a nepotism thing, you'd see Shane involved a whole lot more, and he's nowhere to be found. So, Triple H had to show some kind of attribute or acumen to be able to show that he can take this to the future, that he's taking it now. And from a lot of people's perspective, mine included, are taking it to another level from what he's done in the past 2 years running the show. So just from his mind, what he did in the ring, everything he does on character, to me, it's hard not to put him in that realm if you're talking about the completeness of wrestling. My fourth one, again, and to me, I know you said there was something about the GOAT, but obviously your GOAT has to be on your Mount Rushmore. Otherwise, why you have a Mount Rushmore? My top guy.
Yeah, wait a minute. I ain't sure about that part now. We're talking about who changed the sport, and some folks think that the Mount Rushmore should be somebody who's actually changed the sport. My GOAT is he's just the best wrestler. He's good at being a face. He's good at being a heel. technical. He can brawl. He can do all that stuff. So
let me do this. Let me go ahead and do yours, and I'll give you my fourth and see how it lines up. I'll say my fourth to you after you do your four and see. Because see, I say the same thing about my fourth.
Go ahead. Who's your fourth?
So my fourth is Kurt Angle. He brought legitimacy to the sport. He was the first real life athlete to kind of make that jump and make WWE popular outside of WWF at the time. When you saw Kurt Angle in a WWF ring who had just won a gold medal in the Olympics, that dude's for real. This may be more than I thought it was, because now you've got a guy who represented our country, was the best in the world at wrestling, now comes into this sports realm or sports entertainment realm and picks it up like he had been doing it his entire life. He could talk on the mic. He could be a good guy. He could be a bad guy. I mean, hell, during the guy's Hall of Fame speech, they chanted "You suck" the whole time, and that's just what he's known for because of his heel character being so good. That even after he turned into a good guy and one of the best good guys, and then the Hall of Fame, you still got the "You suck" chants all over. Because it's universal now, just like Stone Cold's "Hell yeah," just like the other. He turned that chant into a positive and just rolled it in, and just with everything he's done as quickly as he picked it up and his accolades before, to me, he's the best professional wrestler to ever live.
Okay. I love him. Love the arguments behind him too. Now, what I'm gonna do, because see, if you ask me my Mount Rushmore, see, it's subjective. I'm like, I will put the wrestlers that I like. You know what I'm saying? But that's not what we're going to do today. I had that four, but that's not what we're going to do today. I'm going to give you the four that I believe.
I'm lucky because I just happened to like the four that I did.
You haven't liked the four that you got? Okay, well, that's fair. I'm going to go with the ones that have changed the sport or have elevated it. First one I'm going is dearly departed Andre the Giant. When he came through, the sport changed. It became the mainstream popularity was on another level. Something that Bruno Sammartino and those boys and oh god, I'm blanking out. Brain fart. What Bruno and the boys in that era couldn't do. So when he came through, it took another level. He was starting to do movies. It put WWF on the map. So I'm giving him his props. He should be on the Mount Rushmore. The next guy is going to be Ric Flair. He did that in different areas, not just the WWF or WWF. Yeah, I think he was in WWE, not F. But WWE.
He was in WWF.
WCW. He was at WWF too for a while.
His first run was in WWF. When he won the Royal Rumble to win the title, it was WWF.
Okay, and NWA. I mean, he's been able to do that on another level in so many different places. The man just personifies wrestling. I mean, him doing the Horseman, that took it to another level, man. He's just a legend in that regard. So I think he deserves his props to be there. You know, and the amount of titles he had. You know, titles are arranged and organized. And I understand that, but he put eyes on the product, man, big time. So I'm gonna give him his props for that one. The next guy is not the most popular guy. To some people, I'm going with John Cena. It ain't because I love him. It's not because he's following me on Twitter. I thank him for that. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? But what he's done is kind of what Andre did in those early years. He took the product that we had to another level, entertainment wise, mainstream media wise, popularity. I mean, I'm pretty sure that most of his matches, especially in the pay-per-view realm, probably some of the highest ranking ever because of him. So I'm giving him props. My fourth guy is my GOAT. I did hedge a little bit. I wasn't going to do that, but my fourth guy is Kurt Angle. Excellent at being a face, excellent at being a heel. The man can go in the ring. He got stamina. He can wrestle a 60-minute match like it ain't nothing. How many guys can do that right now? I bet you not as many as you think. They probably struggle with it. So they got to take long breaks to get through a 60-minute. Kurt Angle can go. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, he can brawl if you want to do that. And he just, in the comedic part of it, I mean, he just had that going. This stick chant, "You suck," because he had an impact on them from decades ago. So the man deserves to be in the GOAT talk. So let's see who else we got out here that is giving us their Mount Rushmore. Herb got here. Stone Cold, Rock, Undertaker, and Sting. All right, I like that. Your brother didn't go very far from me, man. He said Hulk, The Rock, Stone Cold, and Ric Flair. Warrior is my fave, but his career was somewhat shorter than these four. Fair enough, sir. Fair enough.
Yep.
Lady Alpha's one of hers in here right now. Hulk Hogan, the Macho Man, yeah, the Undertaker, and Kane. Well, I haven't seen Kane in a Mount Rushmore in. I don't know if I've ever seen that. That's incredible. Okay.
I think he kind of gets lumped in with the Undertaker a lot. So I think normally you put the Undertaker there just because of who the Undertaker was, and they kind of lump Kane in there. So I think that's why you don't see him on a lot of lists. Not that he wasn't incredible and game changing when he came in. Kind of that. Now I'm having a brain fart. Just kind of that loss on reality of that you want wrestling to be. Where you can kind of disconnect from reality. Is trying to think of what I'm trying to say. But I think seeing sometimes, because she's got the Undertaker and Kane, I think sometimes they just get lumped together, so you don't normally see them both on there.
Nothing wrong with that.
Normally see a lot. Yeah, definitely.
I love hearing the different response. I love that she had Macho Man in there too. I love that. All right, so Herbert's saying that Rod didn't put Undertaker on his list, so his list isn't valid. This is just brother to brother infighting. I mean, this goes on all the time, y'all. So if you're new to this and you see this for the first time, this ain't nothing new. This been going on for a minute.
We can have our first night triple threat championship match between Herbert and Rod, just having a brother going against each other. That's our own Undertaker and Kane going at each other right there.
When did that start?
I think that started 40-something years ago.
No, I'm talking about the steel cage match that we get to see on YouTube. When does that part start?
Whenever we need to. I know Rod's supposed to be in town, and I got a cell phone camera. I can videotape whatever we need to when Raj comes into town with me and her here.
All right. We're going to take Patrol's question right now. He asks, wrong one, Still my slaughter. Thank you, Harry. Appreciate that, brother. Best wrestling faction. I need a minute to think about this because there's so many of them now, and now they're a dime a dozen now. They're coming out the woodworks. Everybody's doing a faction. I'm like, oh, my goodness. It's probably easy to say the bloodline, but I don't know. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to beat that, I guess. But I'm really partial to the NWO, the original. I'm really partial to that. But is it the best wrestling faction? I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say it's the Horsemen.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that just because they were that kind of the originators of it. You didn't hear about factions that weren't family. I mean, obviously you had the Von Erich family for a little time. What little bit of time they actually spent together. Before tragedy happened with that. That's a whole different story. But you get the Horsemen in there, the first real faction of other guys coming together and making that bond. I would agree that it's hard to argue the WWE, the NWO, just because of how they changed the game and how integral they were in those Monday Night Wars. If there is no NWO, is there ever a Monday Night War at all? Does WCW ever really make a dent without them? I don't think so.
I don't see how. No, I don't see how.
So, I mean, they would be in the conversation. I mean, they're probably my favorite, if I had to just say my favorite wrestling faction, just because, again, that's when I started watching wrestling was around that time. So there's a lot of nostalgia attached to that. I'm a huge New Day fan. I love the New Day. But it's hard to say the best. I would have to go with the Horsemen just because they kind of started it all in their longevity as well. Most of these other factions have broken up for one reason or another. The hell, the Four Horsemen went for the 80s into the 90s and some of maybe the early 2000s before they actually split and WCW went away. They kind of tried to take it into TNA a little bit before that. And just everybody's trying to be them at this point. They're trying to recreate that. So that's why I would say, the Horsemen are definitely the best.
And they all had gold too, I believe. That's important
at one point. Yep.
To be the best wrestling faction, you got to have gold. And I can't say that the NWO had that like that. So Scott, and I think Scott and Nash did, but I think it was who was the?
I mean, Hogan got it. But it was the finger poke. So it was kind of hard, obviously we know with all that. So I mean, but he did have that's the kind of for a while.
That delegitimized that when I hear that, I'm like, the finger poke of death. I'm like, come on, man. we could do a lot better than that. All right, so what's you guys wrestling fashion, man? Patrol, you asked the question. What's your best wrestling fashion, man? Drop your comments over there for us. Herb said. Wild said Herb's favorite wrestler is the Brooklyn Brawler. I don't believe that until Herb told me that himself. I think you're giving him a hard time. I can't believe that's possibly true. I just can't buy it. Patrol has his interesting Rushmore: The Rock, Triple H, Undertaker, and Chris Jericho. Y2J. Okay. I don't see this one very often. I've seen it before, but not very often.
Yeah, he's a different one.
Not too shabby.
It's hard to argue.
Oh.
So definitely
the comment for yourself, guys. Roger, you can barely say it past 10. I had to wait him out, and I got this. So basically, you're going to just wait until he gets tired, and then you're going to hit with the power driver and put him down for the 1, 2, 3. Okay, I get it. I know what's going to happen here. Herb used to write letters to Trish Stratus. Oh my God, y'all are something else, bro. Was any of those letters responded to? Is my question. Did you get any kind of response at all? All right, Patrol got his, and his favorite faction was the Nation of Domination. That's not a bad one, man. They had a nice run, man. They had a real nice run. Rocky Maivia had messed that one up, I think. It was really good.
You're kind of going back to legitimizing it. You talk about the NWO. Do we ever get The Rock without the Nation of Domination? Because Rocky was a baby face that everybody booed, and you had Die Rocky Die signs out in there until he got a little edge to him and joined the Nation. If he doesn't join up with Farouk and Mark Henry and those guys, do we ever actually get The Rock? So I mean, it's hard to argue that they're not one of the best ones as well. So
no, Rocky Maivia was dead in the water. It wasn't happening.
Oh yeah.
The other name he had, I think the other name was even more ridiculous than
D'Lo. D'Lo Brown with the head wobble.
I'm talking Rocky Maivia's other name. He was
Flex Cabana.
Flex Cabana.
Flex Cabana.
He was dead in the water. That wasn't happening for him. He was over, and that change happened. So yeah, Nation of Domination gets definitely props for that. Look at this one. Check this out. Something going on with this thing. Hold on.
I just saw that one pop up. Yep, that one's
fantastic action. Absolutely. The shackle. I see the point about the shackle. I'm assuming that this is your significant other, but I don't want to make assumptions. But the shackle stumbled upon Trish Stratus changing in the hall of Nationwide Arena. Changing in the hall. She'd have a dressing room. Trish was baller. She didn't have a dressing room back then.
She wasn't always Trish Stratus. I guess at some point, Roger's the goal.
As far as Vince was concerned, she was.
That's true.
Roger's way let us to gold dust. Really? Okay. All right, guys. So next question: what's your favorite match of all time? This is going to be a tough one. I know that we've seen so many great matches. We got an entire extensive library of awesome matches. Mine's going to be easy because I'm really into the actual wrestling. And my favorite match doesn't have my GOAT in it, which is going to be pretty awesome. And it's recent, which is going to make it even more awesome. So mine was in the last 4 years. So how about you, Mike? Favorite match of all time?
So mine's personal. And by no means, before everybody comes at me in the comments, I realize this is not an all-time great match. It may not even have been considered a good match.
This is yours.
My favorite match comes from a Judgment Day pay-per-view. I want to say it was early 2000s, maybe 99. But it was the only time Birmingham, Alabama hosted a pay-per-view. And it was a Hell in a Cell between 5 guys. I don't even remember who all 5 that were in the match, to be completely honest. I know Undertaker was in it. I know Rikishi was there. But I was there in person live. It's the only pay-per-view I've ever been able to attend, which is why it's my favorite match. I remember the final part of the match where Rikishi goes off of the cage into a truck full of hay, which was just crazy to me. And so really that's, for no other reason than that I was there to see it live. That's always been my favorite match. I mean, there's, other matches I've loved. It was in Birmingham, here in my hometown, Birmingham, Alabama.
I'm trying to find it for you. This is
tell me about yours. I'll think about why you tell me.
2022, right?
No, this was old. This was like early 2000s because I was either a teenager or just had turned 20.
2007. My bad. 2007, right?
Was it 2007?
Yeah, at the BJCC Arena.
Yeah. Okay, maybe it was later than I thought it was.
MVP had the U.S. title, and he was defending against Hardcore Holly. Ring a bell?
Yep.
Championship match with Edge and The Undertaker. I guess he had Batista in his corner. And this when Batista was doing his gimmick as the with the
Was
white
that when he
collar.
was Deacon Batista?
No, he was a special guest referee.
Oh, was he?
That ring a bell?
Yeah, 'cause I think Deacon Batista was after that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, just the visual of that match has always made it one of my favorite. Has always made it my favorite. You know, just being there.
Yeah, Punk was on the undercard back then.
Oh yeah, long time ago.
He was fighting Kenny Dykstra. I forgot that name. I'm like, wow, Spirit Squad. I forgot all about him. You know, Austin Aries. I loved his work, man. Before he imploded. Oh yeah, King Booker and Mark Henry. That ring a bell too?
King Booker. You gotta love King Booker. Speaking of King of the Ring coming up, and Queen Sharmell, his wife. It's good to see his wife get a job as Queen Sharmell, and now she's a Hall of Famer with him. So that's always good.
She deserved it. She did a great job.
Oh yeah,
she did a fantastic job. All right, so favorite match of all time. Anybody? Well, another one's coming in. I'll go ahead and look at theirs before I get into mine. So Raj has his favorite WrestleMania 6, Hogan versus the Warrior in the Sky Dome. Yeah, they were both faces during this time, right? Hogan and Warrior.
6. Yeah, that may have been their first one. That may have been their first match when they were both babyface. Because Hogan, I mean, it had to have been Warrior because Hogan never went heel until he went to WCW later on. He stayed babyface in his entire first run in WWE.
That's what I figured. All right. Herb said the Hell in a Cell with Undertaker and Foley. That was sick. Yeah, absolutely. The highlights of it was just like that's because the people who couldn't believe that were actually watching couldn't believe they were doing what they were doing. That's why. That was that's not a top 10 in your best match of all time. So, I question.
So I will make a correction. I was wrong on the name of the event. So that's why the match was my favorite. The event, it was actually Armageddon 2000 is the name of the actual pay-per-view.
Oh,
it was Armageddon 2000.
Okay.
Yeah, my bad. Like I said, the match was my favorite only because I was there at the match. I didn't remember the name of the pay-per-view, but I did look it up. It is Armageddon 2000. I knew it was in 2000. See, I had the year right. I had the timeline right. I just had the name of the pay-per-view wrong.
So who was on the call?
Let's see. So that match was Kurt Angle, The Rock, Rikishi, Stone Cold, and Triple H and The Undertaker in Hell in a Cell for the WWF Championship. And Kurt Angle won. So my GOAT won there. See, that's when Rikishi gets thrown off. So just seeing that, Molly Holly defeated Trish Stratus. Chris Benoit was on the card. He who may not be named. Edge and Christian defeated the Dudley Boys. So yeah, a lot of good matches on that. And oddly enough, that one took the cake, the one that I remember.
Part of me wants them to get that thing together and do it and win it back again to AEW, man. I love the ENC connection, man.
Oh,
right now it ain't looking good for that, but I wish they would do that at least one more time, man. They were really, really good together. They ain't gonna be no high flying at this point in their career, but man.
Yeah, we're definitely getting another TLC match.
Even if they went as heels, I think it'd still be an awesome situation. I think it'd be good for AEW too. That's just my personal opinion. Taker and Foley was crazy, without a question. All right, so more comments are coming through. I'm gonna share my favorite match of all time. Now, that's changed over the years. Obviously, you see some stuff that's like, wow, this is incredible. Mine was in NXT UK. It's a surprise for you. October 29th, about a week after my birthday, 2020. I'll be one of the worst years of American history. Wrestlers were fighting in empty stadiums or empty arenas. My favorite match, unless somebody can top it off in years to come. Walter Dragunov. I haven't seen anything better than that in my entire life. That match was incredible. The fact that there was no fans in there, it actually made it even better. You can hear everything. Every slap, every pop, every slam. You can hear it all. It was incredible. That's I can't say too much about it. It's like it just I invite you to go check it out. NXT UK, you can search it. October 29th in the year 2020. Walter and the Mad Dragon. That match was incredible. Every
For
time
those who are in the comments who don't know who Walter is, that is Gunther now.
Right.
Back in the golden age, Gunther was known as Walter, and the man was crazy.
I think the name Walter worked. They didn't have to change it. It worked. it was perfect for that situation. But yeah, check that match out, man. NXT UK, October 29, 2020, Walter and Dragunov. Fantastic match. All right, we got another comment coming in. I'm gonna drop you guys your next question. Best debut. Ooh, that's a hard one. Good questions, man. You guys got some fantastic questions coming through
here. Yeah, I don't know. It may be this may be cheating because it may be a re-debut. I don't remember if it's the first time he'd ever been in WWE. But Chris Jericho with the whole Y2K thing, the countdown when he'd been coming out at the Rock and
that was good.
Things about the Rocks, and you had that whole countdown, and then the boom and the Y2J pops up. You see the sparkly jacket and all. I mean, to me, that's probably the best debut that I can remember off the top of my head. I mean, everybody remembers Undertaker coming in Survivor Series, Kane coming in, with Jared, Jim Ross in the background. Oh my God, it's Kane! But just seeing Jericho come in with all that pomp and circumstance, to me, that's probably the best debut I can think of.
Yeah, nobody knew it was him, man. It was like everybody was just dead quiet in that arena, man. Nobody knew it was him because there was no like.
Yeah, there was no IWC.
They weren't following him like that. So it was like, wow. But this is a best debut. I'm having a hard time finding anybody else beside that. I can't go with the Shield. I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure it was it a debut? Was that their first time in WWE?
On main roster debut. That was their main roster debut. They had been in NXT. And I don't think they had been a group in the NXT, so I think they had put them together. But I mean, that would be considered a debut because they weren't the Shield. They were just Rollins, Ambrose, and Roman in NXT.
Well, they came into WWE on the main roster as the Shield. I'm putting that as my debut, so you guys can check it out. Fact check me. I got no problem with that. Fact check me. Make sure that was an actual debut. If it's not right, then I'm gonna have to go with Jericho. If it's not that's Shield, man. I don't know. I felt goosebumps when I heard that sound. They had me. I mean,
look at the pop. Look at the pop it got. I mean, for everybody who knows it wasn't going to happen. The Shield wasn't going to come back at WrestleMania this past year. But as soon as you heard, those letters come up, Sierra, hotel. Oh God. Yeah,
I know Ambrose was not coming back. I had chills like, what is getting ready to happen?
I was on the edge of my seat going, oh my God, is Jon Moxley going to come out for real? Is this going to happen? But of course it didn't. But still, that the pop you get from that just shows the impact that they had in the short time they were there, which goes in, them jumping the barricade and beating the crap out of people on their debut. Which I'll agree with you. I think that's their debut because I don't think they'd been together before that. It shows an impact. You think about the Nexus, their debut when they came in and started choking out, Daniel Bryan choking out the announcer and just destroying the whole place. Now, it didn't go very far after that because John Cena killed it. But, their debut came in pretty strong. Obviously, the NWO debuting together, it's a pivotal point. Yeah, they came in, Hall and Nash came in together as the outside. I guess so, not necessarily the NWO, but the Outsiders debut in WCW. That would be big, but I'm with you. The Shield and Y2J, I think, are the ones that I remember the most.
I'm gonna stick with the Shield. Here's your question, guys. 3 favorite current wrestlers. I know it's gonna be a little bit difficult, but come on, dig them out. I'm gonna give you mine first. Might give you some time to think about it. All right?
Okay. Fair.
So here's my 3 favorite wrestlers right now, and of course, I'm into the actual wrestling, so that's why I'm picking these guys. And that's changed. If you asked me this 2 months ago, I'd had one different name in there. But mine right now, I already mentioned him, Ilya Dragunov, the Mad Dragon. He's my favorite wrestler in the entire WWE NXT network. He's my favorite. I love watching him work. After that, Takeshita from AEW. I love his work, man. He is he's a beast, man. I mean, he's tall, he's big, he's fast, he got power. That dude's a total package, man. I mean, I'm surprised they're not shooting him to the moon right now. He's incredible. And then one of your old favorites, Samoa Joe. Everywhere he's went, I've watched his career. I've been watching him since the very beginning, man. And I'm still kind of shocked. Like, how does somebody who is shaped like him do what he does?
Okay. Representation again. I'm with you.
He's agile, man. I mean, how does I'm like sometimes I'm shocked. Like, how does he do it? That swerve, man. So I'm like, how is he doing this? He's not. I mean, he's not rotund, but I mean, he ain't far from it, you know. And he can move. It's like it's incredible. He's a specimen, man. He's just incredible. So those are my three guys: Mad Dragon, Takeshita, and Samoa Joe.
Okay.
Let me get hard. That causing any problems for you?
No, it didn't cause any problems. So I'll start mine off kind of where you left yours off in that same mold, and that's Kevin Owens. I love Kevin Owens. I love Kevin Owens.
I am shocked by this.
A huge Kevin Owens fan. I mean, I'm a huge Kevin Owens fan through and through. And while he's a great wrestler, I like his character and his attitude, especially right now where he's kind of like, yeah, whatever, what the hell, we'll do it. You know, it's more like a real person wrestling. You know, he doesn't look like he's playing a character. It looks like he's just going to, yeah, we'll go with it, whatever you want to do, I don't care. I just want to fight. Let's go. And then when he wants to fight, he gets in there and puts on classics. I mean, all the times him and Seth Rollins, wrestled, him and Sami Zayn, all the matches that they put together. You start on the roster beating John Cena for the U.S. Championship. Speaking of debuts, I guess. We didn't even think of that one, but debut and beating John Cena for the U.S. title, and that's your first main roster match. That's hard to beat that. But he's definitely one of my favorites. And just the way you phrase the question about the wrestling, it's hard to go past Chad Gable. He's got Kurt Angle vibes. He's it's that same technicality based wrestling, but he's funny. You've seen him as a babyface with the Alpha Academy here recently. He's just now turning heel, where he's kind of like dastardly heel going. He's doing that really well. It's building back up. There's still room to grow there. But I mean, just overall, and going back to your favorite match, I mean, it's hard not to put Gunther in that. Walter, Gunther, however you're going to say. I don't know that there's a better wrestler on the planet right now than Gunther. I really don't. And I realize his moveset is limited because that's his character. But you watch some of those other wrestling matches, some of the other things he's done, he can do a lot more than he actually does.
Without question.
He sticks to what he's good at and what he knows, but he can bust out a lot of other stuff if he needed to. So, I mean, right now, those are my three current favorite wrestlers. I know I'm going to throw an extra one in there, kind of an honorable mention that I think you'll mention too, because I've heard you mention his name. One Obafemi as an up-and-coming wrestler. I think that dude put a rocket on his back to the moon. Herman Rod will love. He's built by Bama, former Alabama college athlete. Can't speed past that. Oh, never. But man, just what he does in the ring. I mean, the dude's only been wrestling for like a year and a half, and he's already this good.
Can you see that? Because he looks like.
Oh yeah.
He knows exactly what he's doing.
Oh yeah. I mean, that would be an honorable mention for me, and I know it would be for you too, because I've heard, I've seen some of your comments about him. I know you love him as well. I mean, that's one we could definitely agree on, is one that's definitely up and coming, who should main event WrestleMania.
I hope they don't mess him up.
I think he's safe right now. If Vince were still there, I'd be afraid that he'd be almost just kind of lumbering around. But I mean, I'm
talking about after that part.
Yeah, but again, you got Triple H running it now. You don't have to worry about the same thing that happened with all these guys when Vince was there, and half the people that came up, Rusev, Keith Lee, these big guys that came up and
why'd you say that name?
Keith Lee was one of my favorites. I love Keith Lee, and they ruined it. And now he's not even anywhere in AEW. I think he's hurt now. Fair enough, but he hasn't done a whole lot in AEW either. That baffles me, man. I'd love to get Keith Lee back under Triple H and let him cook for a little while. To see him and could you imagine Keith Lee and like a Bronson Reed in the match? I mean, come on.
I would love it. I would love that so
much. Good night.
Man, we ain't even getting to the pay-per-views yet, man. Our listeners got me on the ropes over here. Best
Hey, that's
signature
what we
move.
like.
There's so many comments that I can't ignore it. So I gotta go ahead and go through it. So best signature move. Here's what we got going on so far. All right. So this is another question. Okay, Herb, I'm gonna write this question down. We're gonna do this one next time, right? Then you know where in the world.
Yep.
There's no way we can get through that one. All right. So the only current wrestler I know is Rhea, and only because she's really hot and everyone in my Ambi group loves her. Okay. Best
She's one of
signature
my
move.
favorites.
She's phenomenal. I'm trying to if it was for injury, I'm trying to figure out who we're going to take her down because I couldn't think of nobody. It definitely going to be Liv Morgan. I'm like, if it wasn't for injury, she's trying the belt right now. I don't know who can beat her. I thought it was going to be Raquel, but they didn't put her over. So I don't know what happened with that.
Well, she had some health issues too that she's dealing with. She's got a chronic condition that she's dealing with. Well, I don't know that she'll ever wrestle again. Whether it's I mean, I won't go into too much detail because it's not my story to tell. But she's had some health issues. She's not there not because of any booking decision or anything like that, but it's a health thing with her.
Wow, I wouldn't know. I knew she had an issue with. I think it was her back or something like that, but I don't know what happened with that. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So Rod says best signature moves: the Warriors, Gorilla Press. Okay, well, that's your favorite wrestler. I get that. Lex Luger, the Torture Rack. Okay. Most overrated signature move: the Spear.
See, I would have said that a few years ago. I think the most overrated signature move now is the super kick because everybody does a super kick now.
Thank the Bucks for that.
Yeah.
So overrated signature move. So I gotta be honest, and hopefully you guys are gonna be honest too. When Goldberg hit the spear, you telling me that you didn't pop when he hit it? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Be honest.
Oh yeah, he hit the spear. The jackhammer's coming.
What spear did he hit in WCW that y'all didn't pop for? I pop for every single one, whether it's for a title or not. In WWE, different story. But in WCW, that spear, I pop for that spear every time. So I'm not sure if I can get with this one. I'm not sure about that.
So my favorite signature move is probably one most people won't be familiar with unless you watched NXT. She's not in NXT anymore. It is a female. She's going by Athena now in Ring of Honor.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't even remember what she called it now, but it's basically a top rope stunner where she jumps off the top rope and goes into a Stone Cold Stunner. It's one of the coolest moves that I have ever seen. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm blanking out on the name, but now I'm gonna look for it. I know I've seen it before too. So finish it.
I know she's going by Athena now. In WCW,
the old face, right?
Yeah, that's what she calls it now.
Yes, a diving course.
When she was Ember Moon, it was called the Eclipse. She was Ember Moon in NXT and called it the Eclipse. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That and there's been some variations of it now. Like you see the Soul Snatcher from Soul Ruka, kind of that same variation of a stunner or a cutter. Yeah, the setup on that one's a little weird sometimes. So I think it's cool, but just the setup is a little clunky on that one. Otherwise, that would be up there. Anything you're doing off the top rope into like a cutter or a stunner or something like that is really cool.
Yeah. All right. So Herb and Rod's, well, just Herb. He's saying Cody Rhodes, Rhea Ripley, and John Cena are his 3 favorite current wrestlers. Herb said he loved the People's Elbow just because of how ridiculous it was. We seen that recently with the Final Boss. I'm like, I can't believe that we still see this People's Elbow. If he hit me with that, I can still kick out on 3. I'm not staying down for that. But this is what's going on now. The Dudley Death Drop. Nice call. I like that one.
That one would definitely hurt.
I like FTR Shadow Machine too, for the record. In case you've never seen FTR, Google FTR. FTR in the Shadow Machine. It's a very nice move. Super Samoan Drop. Heard that one. Herb said, you had me at Roll Tide. I know they did, brother. That wasn't hard. Overfemi he's for real, though. I'll tell you that right now. He's for real. Stone Cold Stunner. When it's done to the Rockers, he will sell the heck out of it. Man, you ain't lying, Patrol. He will sell it like nobody's business. There's nobody better than that stunner. Vince is horrible at it, but the Rock is fantastic at it. All right, Herb said, agreed. If you didn't like him, the excitement was there when he hit the spear. Every time. I mean, every time.
Well, that's what a signature move is supposed to do.
Now, wait a minute. Patrol, your 3 favorites are, okay, one rings I get. Randy Orton, I get that Jacob Fatu. Really?
I've heard good things about him.
Huh?
I've heard good things about him.
I know, man, but your favorite wrestler patrols? Come on, man. Seriously?
Okay, if you're a fan of indie wrestling, I can see that if you're a fan of indie wrestling.
I don't know if he's a fan of indies, but if he is, then okay, that makes more sense. But I'm like, I got some questions here. Wait a minute now. Really? All right. You ready to get into King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring?
Yes, sir.
Because we got to do this at some point in time. So I guess now's the time, or we won't get it done.
I told you I could do this all night. I could be here all night talking wrestling. This is one of my favorite things to talk about.
I for sure know you can. It's not a problem. You said an hour, but I'm having some fun over here, so we're gonna roll with it just a little bit more. All right? I don't think it might be. All right. So the one match we do know about is the singles match for the undisputed WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes is the champion, facing Logan Paul. It was siding title versus title, but last minute change. So Cody's is the only one with the title on the line. Logan Paul, keeps his a little bit longer. For me, I don't see Cody dropping the title. So I'm going Cody Rhodes. How you feeling about that?
No, same thing. I mean, the whole thing about them taking the U.S. title out of the picture kind of telegraphs it, because I don't see them having Cody have two belts. So there's, that's the only way they could let Cody have a clean win, which he's got to have a clean win. So it's definitely Cody. There's no way he's losing, especially to Logan Paul.
Not at all. All right, so Becky Lynch is putting the women's title up against Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan is still on her revenge tour. She didn't get a chance to take down Rhea. So that match is probably still in the near future when Rhea comes back from injury. But they had a nice little display, a little tete-a-tete, if you will, on SmackDown on Friday. No, it wasn't Friday. It wasn't SmackDown. Was it Raw?
It was Raw. Yeah, they're on Raw.
Thank you, sir. All right. So they had a little exchange on the mic. People were kind of getting into it on Twitter and social media about it. They thought that Liv was doing a fantastic job with that, and people thought Becky was boring. It was going back and forth. But in this case, I mean, this is not a match I'm excited about. I'm predicting a full-blown heel turn by Liv Morgan, but I think Lynch is going to win the match. I don't see her winning the title. I would like for her to lose the title, but I just don't think it's going to happen. If I can have what I want, I'd rather have Morgan take the title. I think it'd be better that way, and do it by dastardly means, not a clean pin. I'm talking about tight pull, something like that. Gouge the eye, one of those deals. So I'm hoping it happens. But what are you thinking about this match, Morgan or Lynch?
Are you ready?
I am ready.
I think Liv Morgan beats Becky Lynch, just not on Saturday. I think Becky wins this Saturday. I think they have a rematch down the road where Liv does beat her. By those dastardly means, there's going to be some shenanigans when Liv finally does win it. But I think Becky wins Saturday only because, and I've said this on Twitter, it's not like if you know me, this isn't breaking news. I think they want to do a rematch between Becky and Lyra at Clash at the Castle at the next pay-per-view in Scotland. And I think they want that to have the title on it. So I think Becky will win this match because of that match coming forward. But I think after that, at either Money in the Bank or at SummerSlam, I think Liv will come back and get it back and win the match there.
Okay. I can get with that. And I'm tell you what, I'm getting ready to talk about Lyra because Liv sucker punched her this week. And she never got her back for that. So the only opportunity to really do that is at this pay-per-view. So I'm like, wow, I can see Lyra messing this match up, and her and Lynch are going head-to-head, face-to-face, nose-to-nose. You messed this match up for me, man. I can set up your Clash at the Castle. But just a thought. All right, the three-way this is the U.S. title, right?
The Intercontinental IC title.
Zayn took it from Gunther in the Continental. So Zayn, Gable, and Bronson Reed in the three-way. Who do you like? I'm saying Zayn's going to retain. It's not really hard for me to I don't see anyone saying.
Yeah, I think Bronson Reed got put in here to take a pin. As much as I like Bronson Reed, I think Sammy and Gable are going to have a rematch somewhere down the road, especially with the Seal character. I think there's got to be a one-on-one at some point for the title. I think Bronson Reed will take the pin by Sammy. Whether somebody gets involved, whether it be Otis or somebody like that, I don't know that that'll happen just yet. I think they're still teasing Otis turning. But Sammy wins. I think he ends up pinning Bronson Reed. and then later on, Sammy and Gable will have a rematch at some point.
Real quick, man, do you like this reign? I'm glad that he beat Gunther. It was definitely a pop because Gunther was just steamrolling everybody. But this is one of those deals where, and this is weird, some of it might be considered blasphemy to wrestling fans, but I'm gonna say it anyway because that's what I do. I say what I want. But kind of feel like this is one of those reigns that I wish was shorter. I feel the same way about the Cody reign too, just to be real about it. I'm glad to be Roman. I'm like, okay, I don't want to see this but so long. So that's kind of what I feel about the Cody thing. That's a separate topic. We talk about that. In fact, I may make a note to talk about that next time we get together.
But it is a separate topic, but it isn't. Because I mean, look at how both of them got the title. They both ended historic reigns, pun intended, I guess. So you don't want to see another year or two title reign after you just saw a 4-year title reign. So you don't want it to last that long. And I think both of them have had the same issue so far. I don't think either one of them have had a credible match or threat to the title to really signify their run. Both of the way they won the title at WrestleMania was a good signifier on how great they are. Him beating Gunther, Cody beating Roman, but they haven't had a challenger yet. And I'm hoping it comes up on SummerSlam, which we'll get to with some of the further predictions. But I think that's kind of what stalled. I mean, you see AJ Styles and Cody in that first feud. Yeah, it's a great match, but there's no passion. There's no heat behind it. It's just two really good wrestlers wrestling for a title. You haven't had that feud where there's some heat behind it or a good story behind it in either the IC or the the WWE title. And I think that they're kind of suffering from the same thing. But I think once they kind of hit that, once Cody gets to SummerSlam, and we'll talk about who I think his SummerSlam opponent's going to be, who I think I already know who it's going to be. But
what do you think?
Who I think it should be. I think his SummerSlam opponent should be Randy Orton. He's talked about it, in the past, how Orton was his mentor, was one of his best friends. He wants to wrestle him. It's two big names on one of the biggest nights of the year for WWE and SummerSlam. I think that's a money match. But I think they can really grit into some of their past and make it a really big deal match that will really cement Cody Rhodes going forward. Sammy's a little bit harder on who he could do that with on the Raw roster, really, because there's not that big threat past Gunther. There's just not.
It's kind of hard to see Gable not having the belt at some point in time. I can't see how Gable's not going to happen. They sized this up pretty good. I just can't see how they wouldn't. But I'm not liking his challenges unless I'm overlooking somebody. I'm kind of like, it's kind of underwhelming to me. Like,
yeah, okay. I'm with you. I mean, it definitely. Right, go ahead.
Yeah. So here's the one. So Lyra faces.
I think it's Nia. Obviously, we won't know till tomorrow night.
Lyra faces Jax, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this is where we start seeing the threads start coming apart for the tag team champs. They've been leading into this for a little while. It's been a little Easter eggs dropped about Jade and Bianca facing each other. They were doing that since the next to, I think it was at WrestleMania. Had like little teasers about them, because they were in the Battle Royal together. I just kind of feel like it's coming to that. They got a title right now, so they're probably not going to do anything with that until they take that L and lose the belts. Then I think it's going to all get stripped down, and they're going to be going nose to nose at some point in time. But I think this is going to be the start of it because obviously Jackson and Cargill have an issue with each other, and that hasn't been dealt with yet. So I can see Cargill wanting to get after her while this match is going on with her and Bianca and causing her to lose the match. And then you got the setup for Lyra and Jax, and I think Jax is going to be your new queen.
Yeah, especially the way they ended the match last week with the DQ of Cargill. I could see her getting involved. You also have, Bianca's knee when she was playing up against Tiffany Stratton, which I think Tiffany Stratton should have won because of the knee and not have either one of them in this position, but it is what it is. You could go either way on that. That's why I think Nia Jax will win tomorrow night and go to the finals against Lyra, because I think they'll play up the injury for Bianca, and maybe Jade gets involved after the DQ, after the big finish they had last week. But I don't see Bianca and Cargill splitting until probably the Royal Rumble. I think they'll hold those titles because that's the one title in WWE that nobody's ever really done anything with. And Triple H is one of those who wants that kind of run with all the titles. So I think he wants Bianca and Jade, and plus look, all the things they're doing behind the scenes. I've joked about representation about big guys, but their representation of two strong black women on TV every week, being good guys, being at the best of their profession, is something that is needed, has been needed for a long time in just wrestling and just in general. But that's one of the big things WWE is pushing right now is that representation, and they are pushing it. You can hear interviews with them, their press conferences after pay-per-views. They are loving their position that they're in because they get to be that face for those young girls that are coming behind them. So I think they'll keep them together. Plus, Cargill still has a lot to learn. She's really good right now, but she's still very clunky at times. And I think Bianca being the same size, having the same move set, similar, I think she can still learn a lot. And I think around the Royal Rumble time, they may lose and turn and set up a Mania match for next year. My thought, just my personal thought and prediction on it, because that's the match you want. You want Bianca and Jade at WrestleMania, because that's the big money match.
You can hear by the crowd. You can tell that this person is primed for a heel turn, because it's not like, you can.
Well, the question is who do you turn heel? Do you turn Bianca heel, who a lot of people, myself included, have wanted a Bianca heel turn for years, who saw her as the heel in NXT and thought that character was great? Or do you want the Jade you got, not necessarily from AEW, but she was pretty much a heel her entire AEW run, that dominant heel fashion type? Do you want that to go forward? So who do you really turn heel between the two?
But the only reason why I agree with the Bianca, I kind of wanted that for a while now. I wanted it right after the Becky Lynch match. I thought that was the perfect time to do it. When she won the title in 9 seconds, I thought that was the perfect time for her to go heel. The only reason that I'm hesitating is because of where her husband is at. I thought that Lashley and the Pride were going to be going on the heel run. I mean, Lashley was interfering in matches. So it's like, okay, what good guy does that like this? So I thought they kind of dropped the ball or changed their mind about that. I thought that they went ahead and did the Pride as a heel group. There was no need for BFAB. They can have Bianca be the female representative of that group. They could all be heels. That was my dream. I'm not sure it's going to happen now.
It's hard, and maybe it's just my own bias. To me, Montez Ford as a heel is a hard sell, just because the guy is so awesome. He's so likable, just his energy and everything like that. I mean, he's such a good baby face. It's hard to have now. Dawkins, maybe I like them both, but I think Dawkins would make a better heel. Maybe if they kick Montez out and maybe bring somebody else in and let the profits finally split, which I don't know that they'll do. But I mean, and that's one of the reasons I think they changed their mind on making them a heel faction. Is nobody, even when he was trying to be a bad guy and make fun of people, everybody still cheered Montez Ford because of the crazy things he could do.
Yeah, this is the same thing that I think happened with New Day too. They had the place where they got so far along that you can't even try to get them to go heel. Because I even seen a glimpse of that after a losing streak that they were on recently. It kind of looked like that could be a possibility, and they just pulled the plug on it. It seemed like.
Well, they're teasing it now. They're teasing it now with Karrion Kross. 2 weeks ago, he was talking to Kofi. This week, he was talking to Woods. Kind of like, hey, it's never too late to switch it up and turn it around, things like that. And of course, Karrion Kross saying it, he's trying to get him to be heel because Karrion Kross is nothing but a heel. So I mean, they're still teasing it here and there. But I don't know that. I mean, that's kind of the same thing. Kofi Kingston is a bad guy. It's just hard to believe.
He got to I think Montez had to just do it. I think better than The Rock tried to do when he was trying to do the Hollywood deal. He just needed to do. That's his bar. If he could do better than that, he would be fine. Talking about the dark glasses, the little smirk, he can make it happen. It's just a matter of he gonna have to do some over the top heel stuff to get people to start booing him.
He has to change his moveset.
He got to do a whole. He got to do lots of the high flying stuff. You can do
Yeah,
that. I mean,
he's
this
gotta change
high
that.
flying heel. I've seen him, man, back in WCW. A lot of high flying heels. That's not a. I mean, Austin Aries was a heel to his heart, and he had moves like
Sure.
that too. So it's not impossible. All right, so we got. I think are we agreed that Jax is the new queen?
I do. I think Lyra's losing that. They wanted her to win the Raw side so they could have her strong for Becky, but I think she's losing tonight, especially after what they announced today about the winners are getting a title shot at SummerSlam.
Yeah. All right, so this is gonna be pretty easy, I think. So Gunther and Orton will be facing off. I don't see King Randy, so so I think it's gonna be Gunther all the way. How you feeling about that?
I agree, and I was talking to somebody about this on Twitter who's like, "Well, now that it's an assured SummerSlam championship match, it's got to be Randy Orton, right?" I'm like, "No, Randy Orton doesn't really need that. He doesn't need the King of the Ring to get a title shot at any point in time. He's Randy Orton. He can get a title shot whenever. If you want Gunther in the title picture, he needs to have that right now because he has nothing else to stand on other than his IC title reign. He needs to be the King of the Ring. One is another feather in his cap. Two, I mean, come on now. Either Damian Priest or Drew McIntyre against Gunther at SummerSlam. Yes, please. Yes, please.
I can't wait. That'd be awesome. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and close the show out with one more question for you. We're not getting into the predictions for AEW Double or Nothing. We don't have the time for it. I'm having fun, but we got to go ahead and respect what we tried to do out here today.
I'll post them on Twitter.
Huh?
I'll post my AEW predictions on Twitter.
I got mine. I'm ready to do the same thing. All right. So, two questions. One, are you watching or are you going to be following Double or Nothing?
I will follow it. I don't do a lot of pay-per-views anymore, so I'm glad that WWE does the PLEs. I will probably watch it at some point when I can find it on free TV. But I'm not going to pay $60 to watch it. Yeah,
hook me up, because I ain't doing that.
Yeah.
I got Peacock, so that's how I get my connection.
Exactly.
I'm not doing that. So tell me how you find the AEW. I don't have Fight TV, so I'm not doing all that stuff. So tell me how you find AEW, because I'm definitely down with that. Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
Hit me offline on that.
Yep, I'll see who wins. I'll watch it at a later date if there's any matches that are really good. I'll probably try to find the Copeland and Malachi Black match because I think that's going to be really good.
That was my next question. That's what you're looking forward to the most.
That was my next question. On that card, there's two I'm looking for on Double or Nothing. I really like that one just because I think we're going to get like a Brood style Edge or Copeland at this point, especially after last night with the pool of blood coming down. All that kind of stuff. I want, kind of nostalgia. I think that's going to be a really good match. Plus, I love Malachi Black. The other one,
music in the world, the Brood.
Oh yeah, the other one I'm looking forward to, and it's somebody that WWE fumbled. Two people really. Timeless Tony Storm and Serena Deeb. I think that's going to be a really good women's match, or just a really good match between two women. Timeless Tony Storm, who was in. I was a fan of hers in WWE. Under Tony Storm, but this Timeless Tony Storm gimmick is the best thing she's ever done in her career. I think it's the best work she's had. Serena Deeb is somebody who doesn't get enough credit. She's been in the game. Hell, she was in the Straight Edge Society with CM Punk back in his WWE days when she shaved her head and she was with him and with Gallows. She's been around forever. She's been a coach forever behind the scenes. Somebody who doesn't get a lot of due. Finally getting a title shot on a big pay-per-view, getting her name out there. I'm really excited to hear about that one and see what happens there. The rest of them, I think they're all going to be okay. I think Moxley Takeshita is going to be crazy. I know you said he's one of your favorite wrestlers, right now, and Moxley who looks at something wrong and bleeds. So there's definitely going to be some excitement there. But there's definitely a lot of good matches. But those are the two I'm looking forward to the most.
Okay, well, it's gonna be hard for me to pick just two. I got more than that, but I will definitely do that. Well. Gonna be hard, like I said. So I won't say Moxley and Takeshita because you already did that already. I'm gonna go with Swerve and Cage. I don't think Cage is taking the title, but I want to see what happens. I think Prince Nana is gonna go ahead and flip the script on his partner. I can see it happen. So that's what that's gonna probably end up going. I'm excited about potentially Omega coming back. I think he may come back during that match, but we'll see. But that's not the match I'm looking for. I'm looking at this one, Strong and Ospreay. I think this is the title change. I know they just put the belt on Roderick Strong, but I think it's going to be a title change right here. I think they need to put a belt on him, and I think they gave him this match because they want to put a belt on him quick. There's no program in the works for him and Swerve right now, so this had to be the move to get some gold on him. So I really like this one a whole lot. So
yeah, I don't see a world where Roderick Strong beats Will Ospreay. I just don't. I love Roderick Strong. He's been a good wrestler for a long time now. I don't see a feasible story or world, even with the Undisputed Kingdom, where Roderick Strong beats Will Ospreay. He's got to win that title. And being the international title with him, coming from Japan, being an English wrestler, he is the definition of international wrestling right now. So it makes sense for him to have that belt too. So yeah, I'd agree with you.
Yeah, he can't break my top 3, but he's definitely in my top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time.
Definitely.
And this was an awesome show, brother.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for doing this, man.
Thank you. I appreciate the idea, you throwing it out there. Everybody that's enjoyed the show, thank Mr. Yu. He's the one that put this all together, got us together. Man, it's been a blast. I've loved it. Thank you, Lady Alpha, for checking in. Appreciate you.
Your questions were incredible tonight. Thank you, lady. Appreciate you. Have a great rest of the night, and thanks again. And we look forward to more things from you. We're excited. So, yeah, man, this was fun, man. I really enjoyed this, man. So I'm really grateful that you were able to do this, and can't wait to get Mike in here, get him out of that little situation, get him out here doing some work with us and having some fun with us. So I'm excited, man. So for you guys, we didn't have a long-term plan. We didn't know how we were going to be going with this. If we're going to do this on a regular basis, we didn't know how. Thanks, Raj. Appreciate you so much, man. Great job on the questions, man. You dominated the comment section like nobody's business, brother. Appreciate you so much, man. Yeah, we didn't know how we were going to go and what we were going to be doing and stuff, so we're going to be working that stuff out offline, trying to figure some stuff out, seeing how often we can do this and bring some more pro wrestling to you. Clean cut with no drama, just straight pro wrestling, baby. So we're going to talk it out, figure it out, and make it happen. We got everything's in place. We got the logo. Hope you got like the new logo. Hope you like it. We got the music, and we got the wrestling experts up in here, ready to put in that work, man. Thank you, Herb. Appreciate it so much, man. That was really fun, man. Glad to have you there, brother. So
yes, sir. Thanks, Rob.
We're gonna figure it out and check out our Twitter page. Then please subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can stay updated on when any more shows from us on Pro Wrestling come out. We can go ahead and take a run at this and see what we can do, man. So thank you guys so much again. And Big Mike, tell everybody where they can find you, man, on social media, brother.
You see it right there at _Big Mike 27. Stay tuned. I'll give you updates when we find out when we're going to do the next show. Whenever that is, more upcoming. I've started doing more polls for wrestling, so stay tuned for that. If you watch Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite, I do polls after the show. Let me know what you think about the shows. Just tap in general. Let me know you're out there. I love interaction.
Love it, man. You can find me on all the socials at They Call Me Mista Yu. Of course, our YouTube channel by the same name. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channels. Stay updated with what's going to be going on with this show and the rest of our work on all the socials, man. So thank you guys for joining us. We love the comments and the questions. Fantastic job by you guys. So thank you again for everything that you're doing. And we're out of here, man. Have a great night, guys.